Backstory. 2 years ago, I, 46 female, lost my husband in an accident, and I was heartbroken. We had 3 children, and I thought we were very happy until his mistress showed up at my door, demanding money to support the child my husband fathered. I didn't believe her, but she was able to prove it with screenshots, messages, etc. The image that I had of my husband was forever tainted, and he left me with the mess. Because of bitterness about the betrayal and how offended I was by the mistress's lack of remorse and entitlement, I told her she wasn't getting a dime and that she shouldn't have slept with a married man. I consulted a lawyer, and while she could prove the affair, it didn't prove paternity, and since my husband wasn't on the birth certificate, nor could she produce that my husband acknowledged the child, she had no case. After my lawyer sent her a strongly worded letter, I didn't hear from her for a while and thought it was over until my oldest, Alex, 19 female, came to me and said that she did a DNA test with the mistress behind my back. She said that she did it because she wanted to get this resolved. The child deserved to know who their father was and get the financial support that they were owed. My husband had a will that stated each of his children were to split an inheritance. When the results came back, proving that my husband was indeed the father, the mistress took me to court. It was a long legal battle, but eventually a settlement was made. I sat Alex down and explained to her that her inheritance would be split 50-50 between them and her half-sibling. When she asked me if my other children had to split theirs, I told Alex no, that it wasn't fair that my other 2 children, Junior, nearly adult son, and Sam, youngest daughter, had to get a lesser share because of my oldest choices. And if she wanted a full share, she shouldn't have done the DNA test. My own siblings think that that wasn't fair, and I'm punishing Alex for doing right by her half-sibling, but I don't see it that way. Update on Am I the Idiot for Cutting My Child's Inheritance? Since I told Alex what would be happening, she told her siblings, and the house has been pretty tense. To try and make peace, I spoke to each of my kids for a one-on-one and as a group to figure out what to do next. I spoke to Alex first, and some interesting information was revealed that I'm very angry about. Apparently, the mistress created a fake profile account and manipulated my daughter into befriending her. After gaining my daughter's trust, she pretended that she was in a similar situation as her and said that the DNA test proved that there wasn't any paternity. When Alex went behind our backs, she thought that it would prove the mistress was trying to scam us. My son Junior is furious that Alex went behind our backs and doesn't care why she did it and blames her for them being stuck with half a sibling he doesn't want. My daughter Sam says she wishes she never knew the truth and is deeply upset. I asked my children that since they now know the truth, would they want a relationship with their half-sibling? Junior clearly wants nothing to do with the child and says that Alex should feel lucky he still considers her a sister. Sam says she doesn't want to, and I feel it's because she's in denial and wants to live life pretending that her father was perfect. Alex admits that she is curious but never wants to see or hear from the mistress again, so she doesn't think a meeting will ever be possible. I proposed family therapy, and while my girls are open to it, my son says that therapy is only for people who have something broken in them, and that he's not broken, is now happy that his father is dead, and wants to change his last name as soon as he turns 18. I'm not going to force him, but I do hope he changes his mind one day. For clarification, before I made my first post, before I told Alex what was going to happen with her share of the trust, the settlement was already finalized, so there is no still cutting, but it's already done. Technically, I could go back and renegotiate the terms of the settlement, but the mistress could try to come back for more money. Initially, she wanted the entire life insurance policy, 50% of the trust for just her child, and 50% of my husband's savings. Her argument was that since I was still working and had a high-paying job, my children and I didn't need the money, and she was a struggling single mother. I'm honestly getting exhausted with everything to deal with that woman anymore and don't want to spend more on legal fees. Personally, I wouldn't hand a single penny over to the mistress. What did she expect was going to happen when she knowingly messed with a married man? Her and your husband are the biggest idiots of this story. I don't mean to be rude, but your daughter is an idiot for going behind your back about it. I get that the mistress had a hand in it, but it still does not excuse the fact that she betrayed y'all's trust. I feel like Alex might be lying, that she thought the mistress was scamming her. Why would she go through all that length of doing the DNA test? I remember reading your original post, and I think you're absolutely doing the right thing. If you keep dragging the fight, you're only hurting yourself. It's only right for Alex to split her inheritance. This is a cheap price for your family's peace. I think so too. Once Alex saw the consequences that ensued, and the fact that her siblings do not support what she did, she likely regretted what she did and is now pretending that she was scammed. Your husband made a decision to cheat and not use protection. This resulted in a child. He had a legal financial responsibility to that child. This is true regardless of the actions of your daughter. Yes, your three would have gotten more money if she had not have had the test, regardless of the manipulation. This does not mean the child of the affair did not deserve or have the legal right to support from their father's estate. Your husband acted like an idiot. His mistress acted like an idiot. Your daughter is a child. Her actions, manipulation or no, resulted in the truth coming out, and just as a result. But the way you are treating her makes you the idiot. You're punishing her because her father is dead. If he wasn't, he would have been legally required to support his affair child. It's not her fault her dad cheated. It's not her fault he's dead. And it's not her fault she as a child was manipulated. I get wanting to look out for your own, but that ship has sailed. I, male 37, moved to a new neighborhood 2 months ago. I served in the military for 5 years. After that, I worked as a police dispatcher, but I moved out of town and struggled financially and was too busy getting settled to commit to a job. Now I work at the mall as a guard. I work day shifts. I get home at 6 p.m. I live alone. I have a golden retriever who's friendly to the neighborhood. When I get home, I usually take a shower, then I sit outside on the porch and check SM, or play with my dog, or just have a beer while listening to music via my earphones. My next door neighbor is a funny guy. He's married with 3 kids. He seemed nice at the beginning. He talked about he and the previous owner were old friends, and him leaving was devastating. And he repeats the same thing every time he sees me. Plus, he had a spare key his old friend gave him for emergencies that he still hasn't given back yet. I'd find the mixer or the vacuum gone, and he even borrows bread and yogurt from my fridge, saying the kids wanted it, meaning the kids were inside my house too. I demanded he give it back, but I'm not sure if he made copies. I'm better off changing the locks. He also started making a series of requests, like asking me not to walk my dog when the kids are playing outside, asking me to keep my windows closed whenever I see their windows open, etc. Last week, he saw me sitting on the front porch at 7 p.m., and he approached, asking if I could go inside for 90 minutes till his wife finishes her workout in their front yard. I asked him what, and he said he felt it was inappropriate for me to sit there while his wife works out. He went on about her not being able to go to the gym these days, and that she needed space, and the front yard was the only space. I told him not to worry. I was just minding my own business, but he threw a fit, saying he finds it unacceptable, and said he was sure I was making his wife uncomfortable as well. I got really mad, and I told him it's my house. I do whatever I want, and that it wasn't my problem and he needed to leave me alone for Christ's sake. He lashed out, implying I was being disrespectful and have no shame, then asked why he never saw any of my family visits. I told him it's none of his business. That's when he started going from door to door, telling neighbors to watch out and basically spreading rumors about me. I ran by 2 of my neighbors at the supermarket, and they avoided me. I kind of laughed because people used to come to me for help. Now they're listening to my neighbor, ruining my reputation. Am I the idiot? I'm sorry. Did you say he goes in your home and takes things when you aren't there? That is utterly insane, and you need to have your locks changed tomorrow morning. As for the rest, live your life. He has some huge problems, and it's never going to stop if you just give in now. He is already rude and demanding. Giving in isn't going to change that. Do your thing and ignore him. I'm sure your other neighbors know how he is. I wouldn't be surprised if they ignore you because they don't want to tick him off, which means you're screwed if you do or don't, since he doesn't like you already. Or get a camera first and catch him invading your home. File a police report and watch him suffer for his mistakes and his reputation going down. OP's reputation is restored, and the loser learns a hard lesson not to steal from OP. Then change the locks. That blew my mind. Like, why on earth wouldn't you change the locks on a new home? It sounds absurd not to. I understand that some owners don't want the interior locks changed if they're renting, though I don't agree with it. But the exterior locks? Wild. You are not the idiot here. Fences make great neighbors. Sounds like this guy needs a privacy fence if he's so worried about people watching his family. Change your locks ASAP, and if you can afford it, build a fence. I wouldn't even talk to this guy anymore. Working out in the front yard sounds weird, like she wants people driving by or walking by to see her. So my boyfriend, 26, who we'll call Jay, and I, 23 female, have been dating for 9 months. For backstory, I own my own house and my car, mortgage-free, and have my own business. I'm telling you all this so as to no confusion as to who owns what. Jay rents a small apartment and has his own car. He also has a really good job, so he has his own money. Yesterday, I asked Jay if we could have a serious talk about our plans for the future together, if he wanted to get married, have kids, etc. Basic rundown is Jay said he didn't want to get married, that he did want kids, and he wanted to be with me, and that I could add his name to the house when we move in together. Now I'm completely okay with not getting married. I don't really care if I do or don't. But the next part is where I might be the idiot. I told Jay that I completely agree with almost everything he was saying, but I wouldn't add his name onto the house just like that. I said that if he wanted his name on the house, then he would have to pay me half of what the house is worth, or we could look into buying a house together. He got angry and said I was being unfair, that if he was going to live here, then he had a right to have the house in his name too, and I was being a gold-digging witch. I told him that I wouldn't be spoken to like that, and asked him how I was being a gold digger when A, I owned the house, and B, made more money than he did, and C, was offering to spend even more money than him by buying a new house with him. I said I've worked too hard in my life and sacrificed so much to get where I am now to have someone who has not contributed anything to it demand half. He didn't say anything. I then said that if he wasn't willing to buy half of my house when we moved in, or buy a new one with me, then our relationship wasn't going to work because I won't be taken advantage of financially or live with a freeloader who thinks he's entitled to profit off of others' hard work. Jay said he needed space and left. It's been a day and we haven't spoken. So, am I the idiot for not putting his name on the house? Not the idiot. Run. This is a perfect case of projecting. He seeks to seize a part of your assets and accuses you of being exactly what he is in order to deflect a more accurate allegation. He's vulnerable to be accused of entitlement too. Why does he have a right to own where he lives if all he pays for it with is company and, well, intimacy? Not the idiot. A guy you've been dating for 9 months wants you to give him half your house for nothing? Of course you're not wrong. And calling you a gold-digging witch? He sounds like the witch in this situation. OMG, I swear only women ask this stuff. You are not the idiot. I repeat, not the idiot. It's your house. He can buy himself a house and rent it if he doesn't want to be empty-handed. You don't need to put anyone else in there. Please don't do that. It does seem like women are the only ones to ask, right? I truly don't think I'm wrong, but his sisters are blowing up my phone saying I made him cry. To be honest, I don't care if he did. About a week ago, a group of friends and I took a trip to Vegas, and for the record, we all got tested before we went out. The casinos have just opened up recently, and my friends and I have always enjoyed a little bit of gambling, so we decided to check one out. I usually have a specific fund dedicated to gambling, so I don't use up any of our savings, but most of that fund ended up being put towards rent during quarantine since my girlfriend got laid off of work. Now, here's where I think I might be the idiot. It had been over a year since I had gambled last, and I really wanted to gamble. Any other gamblers out there reading this post will get it. I didn't want to take away from the house fund or from our grocery fund, so I decided that taking money from my kids' college funds would be the best option. Kids are still small, so there was still plenty of time for me to get the money back before they actually go off to college. And I ended up winning. I kept all of the money that I gambled, and I ended up making a profit of about a quarter of the fund. I called my girlfriend and excitedly told her the news, but she asked where I had gotten the original money from. I told her, and she freaked out. She screamed at me, told me that she was going to tell the kids how immature I was, and hung up on me. I know that it was a little bit irresponsible, but I don't really see the issue. If I had lost the money, it might be a different story, but I won, so I don't get why there's a problem. Now my kids have even more money to put into their college fund, and I got to gamble like I wanted. It's been 3 days since that conversation, and she hasn't responded to any of my calls. I'm getting really sick of reaching out to her when I don't think I did anything wrong. But my flight home is soon, and I don't want her to complain about me not apologizing when I get home. But do I even have anything to apologize for? So am I the idiot? I only gambled about $30,000, and now I and my family are all better off because of it. Don't you guys understand that I won? You are the idiot. You could have lost. Your girlfriend is out of a job, and you gambled badly needed money on a 1 in a million shot? You need to get on your knees and apologize. And you've repeatedly said you don't want to be judged for traveling during global situation, but using up your savings during such rough times? Not a good look. You are the idiot. You need to see a counselor. This seems like an addiction. If you are willing to mess others' lives up for your own gain, sure, you won this time, but the next time you gamble, in all likelihood, you are going to lose big time. You are the idiot. Only $30,000 is a huge amount to steal from your own children. Yes, you won this time, but what if you hadn't? Stop trying to justify your selfish actions. You're not making yourself look any better. Get help.